Dr.Ben!
Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry. Hold on!
All right, folks. You know what time it is? It's time to relaunch. We talked about just yesterday when we were reviewing The Swamp, Volume 1 of Yoshiharu Tsuge's complete two works. I'm going to do, I also read Volume 3. This is really the one that kind of kicked it off for me, Nejishiki. Nejishiki represents the pinnacle of avant-garde manga. Originally published in the legendary alt manga magazine Garo in 1968, the title story marks cult cartoonist Yoshiharu Tsuge's radical turn to dreams, surrealism, and existential horror. So those are like my three favorite things: dreams, surrealism, existential horror. What's not to love? Tsuge's literary landscapes were once lush and inviting. Now they are shadowy and haunted. His cheery travelers have lost their innocence. They have been replaced by alienated wanderers pursued by menacing doppelgangers, unsavory sexual impulses, and omens of death. Omens of death. Psychologically and erotically charged stories collected here revolutionized manga, galvanized Japanese comics criticism, and stand as some of the strangest fruits of the countercultural discontent of the late 60s. They remain just as shocking and vivid today. In the 60s, manga experienced a creative explosion and intellectual maturation without precedent anywhere in the world. One of the key figures of that movement was Yoshiharu Tsuge, whose pioneering and masterfully crafted stories placed him among not just the greatest manga creators, but also the most influential artists in any medium in modern Japan. This is the third volume of 7 from the celebrated and ever mesmerizing Garo artist. He's still alive. This Tsuge fella, he's still alive. He hadn't made anything since 1987. And Sungun's still over there. I guess not drawn, or if he is, he's not showing anybody, but retired in 1987, hasn't made anything else. So this is, who's that, just a hair? Yeah, so this is the one that kind of kicked off my real fascination with this. I guess, maybe what the thing I should do is do a little bit of reading from the review of this. Yeah, that's what I should do. Let me clip it here. Okay. Got this. So this is what initially kicked off my fascination with seeing this review on the Comics Journal. Yoshiharu Tsuge's Vagabond Rapist, 1968 to 1972. This is from November 15th, last year, 2023. It says, this essay discusses depiction of sexual violence at great length. It would cause some readers distress. Nobody has to read any of this. Not if it is painful. Okay. So that's what you start off something like that, you're gonna, arouse my suspicion and attention, but not maybe for the right reasons that you're thinking. So let me I guess maybe I'll leave this there so you can kind of read along with me for this first paragraph that the reviewer. I don't want them to think I'm shutting them out. As Helen Chazon. Nejishiki, The Complete Mature Works of Yoshiharu Tsuge, Volume 3, collects a series of rape fantasies, sporadically penned by Tsuge between the years 1968 and 1972, which many consider to be his finest works. These comics are stories about men uprooted from place and roaming unfamiliar, eerie towns, driven by obscure needs or by nothing at all. Each story, except one, revolves around sexual violence, the kind that we can all recognize, the kind we are taught to fear or expected to want. The sensational act of a man, our eyes, taking a woman by force. Telephone ringing. Sorry, folks, it's busy here at the office today. These masterpieces of surrealism do not allow you to look away. So this is what I'm saying. When I read that, I was like, it just seemed an odd thing to say that all the stories revolve around sexual violence, the kind we can all recognize. I was like, what do you mean? What does that mean exactly? Who? I don't know. It just seemed, it immediately like kind of put me on edge. Like, it's a series of rape fantasies. That seems like a harsh way to describe something. A series of rape fantasies. You know, like I read that and I was like, that's an odd choice of phrase. And honestly, I would say I'm still a newbie at understanding a manga. You know what I mean? At understanding manga creators. I've been reading it for years, but I don't know this Tsuge fella. This is the first I can think of that I honestly heard of him. I might have read the name before, but not been able to place him. But so this is also kind of a testament to, I think there's no such thing as a bad review, even when you're reviewing something in bad faith, which is what this seems like. This is why I couldn't turn away from reading this review of this book, right? I couldn't stop because it was like, it seemed like it was such a slanted, biased take on it, just from the immediate, like the way they describe it, a series of rape fantasies. Does it say that on the back? It says this represents the pinnacle of avant-garde manga. Does avant-garde manga mean rape fantasies? Is that what we're supposed to understand? From this Comics Journal reviewer? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such you start off your review like that and it immediately makes it suspect. It's in here, it's saying how, the title story marks as a radical turn to dreams, surrealism, existential horror. That sounds interesting and exciting. Radical turn to dreams, surrealism, and existential horror. It's fantastic. That's definitely what I want to read about. Rape fantasies. Rape fantasies. That sounds kind of weird. I don't know if I want to read about rape fantasies. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's such just a negative light to begin your review, which I guess maybe that's what it is. Start off your review saying this book is a piece of shit. And then there's nowhere but up that your review can go in describing it. Is that it? I don't know. So that's what drew me. I'll put a link to this in the review below. So let me make sure. Oh yeah, it's recording. For some reason I was thinking stop recording. That's what happens. I get paranoid. So that's what started my fascination. I read this review, read the rest of it. It keeps going, and it describes how like all these. It relates everything as to being like a rape fantasy. How does he? Nothing is, to my knowledge. No, that's not it. It's weird. Okay, this is what struck me with it. Nejishiki can function as a collection. I'm reading from this review. Can function as a collection of potent images: beaches, railways, factories, dilapidated houses, grit, shadow, and overgrowth, passed over by the indifferent and urgent sneer of a skinny man who emerged from the ocean with a jellyfish wound. This phantom-like man is unfazed by his grimly alluring surroundings, only thinking of whether he can get his arm fixed. All he sees is whether help can be extracted from the space he inhabits, only once genuinely diverted by a discussion of candy production with an old woman who might be his mother. For the purposes of this essay, I will be like this man and disregard much of the striking compositions of Nejishiki and their possibilities to seek out the story's terminal satisfaction. The man's wound is cured while he rapes a woman doctor. What? She is an OBGYN, the only kind that can cure him, or so the man insists constantly. His act can only be seen as premeditated, perhaps mandatory. As he attacks her under the dirt-encrusted contortions of seats, a wrench is raised. By whom? Now let me pull this up, because this is Nejishiki. We'll go over the book a little bit once after we go over this. 1968. So this is the story she's talking about. Starts, comes out, happened to be, jellyfish were the last thing I expected to run into at the place like this. I happened to be swimming at this beach here when one stung my left arm. Got stung on the arm by a jellyfish. My vein was severed, naturally. Blood began gushing out, bright and red. It was hemorrhaging so badly that I thought I might die. I had to find a doctor, and fast. But as I was a stranger to this fishing village, locating one would be no easy task. Okay. All he's thinking about is getting his arm fixed. That's so weird. Only thinking of whether he can get his arm fixed. All he sees is whether help can be extracted from the space he inhabits, only once generally diverted by discussion of candy production. So, I mean, the thing with this story, this first story, is that it's surreal. It is dreamlike, because he explains kind of like in detail how his arm, there's a vein coming out. He has to hold them together with his right hand. Therefore, I had to walk slowly. If I let the opening slip apart even just a little, blood immediately sprayed out. So he has to walk holding his arm, the vein that's severed on his arm. What on earth is that something that jellyfish even can do? I thought jellyfish stung you, not bit your arm vessels open. But so he's walking through the town. Hello, is there a doctor? I'm desperate. I need to find a doctor. So, I understand you're looking for a doctor. What? If you have any sense of chivalry, please tell me where I can find a doctor right away. I see. I think I understand what it is that you're getting at. And what you're really trying to say is, where can I find a doctor? Please stop with the bad jokes. This is a matter of life and death. Look at me. Can't you see that my face is draining of color? Please just tell me where I can find a doctor. I know, maybe there's one in the next village over. Yeah, there must be. Why is there like a band walking in the background? Like, then this is what I'm saying, like, I pointed out last time with railroad tracks. It feels like that's like a theme in a lot of his work. But he starts walking down the tracks. Feels like these two panels here maybe got flipped. Because it says, if we're reading right to left, he says, man, this road sure is hard to walk on. It's just making me more agitated. See, the flies are already swarming. My arm has begun to rot. Then there's no words on this panel. You came at the perfect time. Can you take me to the next village? My pleasure. See, it seems like these are... It seems like this panel should be here, or at least these words. My arm has begun to rot. See, the flies are already swarming. I don't know, though. Hold on. This train is going back the way I came. If you don't believe me, look in the rearview mirror. See how the next village is getting further and further away? I think this is just a weird looking train. And it's just the engine. The window's broken and he's just riding in there. Close your eyes. It'll make it feel like you're going backwards. Didn't they teach you basic laws of physics like that in elementary school? I don't remember. I need to keep my cool. Hey, you're a real lifesaver for a kid. Look, a wind chime. Oh, how I love summer. Going on a drive while listening to the soothing sounds of a wind chime. Wish my mother could have seen this. And there's no train tracks, but here's the train coming in through this village. We've arrived. Wait a minute. This is the village I started from. To think of all the time that I've wasted. He keeps looking. This is the lady that they're saying that he stops to talk about candy production. And think all this, he's supposed to be bleeding from his arm and worried that he's gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's absurdism or surrealism or whatever, you know. And then this is, he finally finds this doctor. I need a doctor. I need an operation. This is no place for men. I'm an OBGYN after all. Please, ma'am, please. I have no time for such niceties. I might die. Very well, let's play your game of doctor then. Now this is the part she says that his wound is cured when he rapes a woman doctor. This is it's a weird dream. But we're gonna read through it. He comes up, sees the lady doctor, blah, 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 need the operation. And she's standing there nude now, for one. Wait, are you going to operate on me without applying anesthesia? That's madness. You're a reckless one, aren't you? And that's what we see, someone grab a wrench. Cronk, cronk. The operation seems to have been a success. Be careful not to close that stopcock all the way. If you do, the blood won't be able to flow. For an OBGYN, your skills as a surgeon are quite impressive. Just remember that mechanism only has an on and an off. It's riding in a boat. And that is why my left arm goes numb whenever I close this stopcock. It's just absurd. Like she did the surgery under the sheet while she was naked with him. Well, this lady describes it, says that as he attacks her under the dirt encrusted contortions of sheets, a wrench is raised. By whom? So that's this. A wrench. Doesn't really show that a wrench is raised. We see a hand grabbing the wrench. Doesn't really show that it's raised. We see a hand grabbing the wrench. Next, we can see her with the wrench up there. I just want to point out how this review is either a good review or a bad review, depending on. Well, okay. So this is the point, anyways. We're at the absurdity of seeing a woman's doctor, who is, by the story's reasoning, naturally a woman as well, to treat a burst vessel, and the unspoken inevitability of the rape. Or was it rape? Did she expect this as well? We can't ask her. And Tsuge is not telling. Impress upon the reader that this is a transgression into the realm of women, a discovery of the red light district, or perhaps a forced entry into a private dwelling. This is no place for men, she says. Okay, well, that's here. This is no place for men. After his procedure, the man compliments her skills, as a surgeon, of course. What? Moving his hand away from his wound, which has been stopped up by a valve. The valve can be shut off by tightening it, and so the rapist can live on happily, either continuing his existence or going numb as he pleases, wherever that is. As he is sped across the sea in a motorboat, now dominating the primordial waters under which he emerged, he looks down at the valve, the stopcock, the prize that fixed his arm. He seems happy with himself. The arm, which was once limp, has become muscular. What the fuck? Like, how do you get any of that from this? That's the end of this one. That's the end of Nejishiki, right? Now, people have said that this is like kind of like follows like dream logic, surrealism, like I said, existential horror. I get those from this. Weird rape fantasy, I don't get that from this. You know what I mean? Like, all through it, there isn't like anything with sex up until this part at the end when he's talking with this old lady about candy. He refers to his granny. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. And then the way the sex stuff comes up with the doctor is just so bizarre. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it goes from like she's like this, dressed, sitting at her table, to the next minute they're like entwined, and she's wearing. Let's play your game of doctor. Ugh, okay. So, people. The thing I've learned, looking this up. There's other versions and translations of the same story. Maybe that's what I should do. Is I should link one of those. No, I don't want to get in. I don't know how linking to something online works like that, but it's regarded as like I said, surrealism, this kind of weird existential horror, experimental, absurdist, maybe also like Dada, surrealism. And that's what I'm saying, I can get all those from this, that you get all that with him getting on this train, and the train's driven by somebody in a weird cat mask. It's going backwards, and everything's just so, we're going backwards. What? Okay. A wind chime. Oh man, that makes me think, it's that dream logic where time doesn't have the same sort of meaning in dreams, right? Something will happen and it doesn't have any relation to what happened before it. And the next thing that happens will be somewhere else when you're, at a different age or a different person. And that's just, you go through it and you just accept it because that's how dreams work. You don't, your mind doesn't question why, there's a talking pumpkin with legs and arms, and that's who the mayor is. Like, it's just, the mayor is a talking pumpkin. Everybody knows it. That's how dream logic is, and that's what he's using in here. And he even said that parts of it were maybe influenced or inspired by dreams he had, and that's what a lot of this work, this next work in this book, his next collection, is weird dreams, like the crab. I could see that being sort of like a dream. Some of these are sort of ghost story kind of things. The Master of the Gensenken Inn, is that the ghost one I was thinking? Yeah, this guy comes to an inn, and there's something about how, like, he reminds them of, like, someone else that came there, and he talks about there's something so familiar about this town, as if I've known it since long ago. He gets like a weird a Tengu mask. Weird. Why do I always fall back on weird as my descriptive word? Try to fun. Replace weird with fun. But everyone in the story seems to remark about him reminding them. The inn used to be run by a lonely woman with no family to speak of. That is, until the man who looks like you took over. But he's not there? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's a story that is just odd. There is like bits of sex in it. Like this definitely seems like a sexual assault. I would give this one to be a sexual assault, because this lady's over there in the bath doing her prayers, and then he grabs her legs, and then he's grabbing. He's telling her to shut up. She's yelling. He's telling her to shut up. Trying to drown her. Do what I tell you. And then this says handwriting, my room. But it feels like it's hard to tell, like, if this is supposed to be real, almost like almost like a ghost story or something. I don't know. So that's I mean, some of this stuff is like you have to kind of bring your own interpretation to different parts. What exactly they're wrestling around in here. He's trying to force himself on this lady in the bath. But then, like, they're supposed to go off to their room? So then maybe it's not forced? I don't know. In this one, I guess the thing I will point out with this one that makes it a lot, I like this volume a lot better than volume 1, is that similar to that one, and there's an essay in the back. We have these 7 stories. Is that what it is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 stories, and then the essay in the back. Oh, by the translator, by Ryan Holmberg. And the essay really goes deep into like each story, different. He kind of introduces this period, 1968 to 1972. He introduces this period, what Tsuge was doing, how this Garo magazine had, is this the one where they had asked for him? No one knew how to get, it might have been the other one. But it places like what he was doing during this time, and the work had been doing, what he was, how it was explained, like in interviews. All of it is sourced too. See, that's what I'm saying, is like this part is like a huge essay in the back of this one. All of it is sourced amazingly. You know what I mean? Like this is the kind of stuff that like I nerd out over. Like I'm kind of trying to restrain myself from like I want to now learn Japanese so I can go and find these like Japanese magazines to learn all these things. Be like, that's where he got that quote from. I see. But that seems like a tall order, just to learn Japanese, just to look up references in, But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's on my to-do list for this year. But yeah, these are all just the references for this huge essay. Which what I really like about it is it talks about each work in detail. Each work in this in detail. There's 7. Nejishiki, Master of the Genseiken Inn, the Murakira Tavern Girl, The Crab, Master of the Willow Inn, A Dream Stroll, and A Summer Memory. In each of these, he goes through and explains, gives the background, where it was originally published. With Nejishiki, he talks about how that is this like influential strip that has influenced all these other artists, little bits where it was kind of he has like some of the reference photos for different parts of the comic. And that, to me, that's amazing. You know what I mean? You get to read the comic strip. You get to find out where it sits historically. You get to see like reference photos that the artist was using for that. Like this picture, that's this scene of like the town, like of all the eye doctors. So there's these railroad tracks. You can see those in the strip. That band, that marching band I was curious about. I forgot that they had this in here. But yeah, so this is what I'm saying. Each of these, all of this is just about that first story so far. And then we finally get to the second one, Master of the Genseiken Inn. And there's a long discussion about how, see, there was a Nejishiki video game that, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my camera set up. If I pull it up too close, I get into that shadow. I want to look up the Nejishiki video game. That's actually, if I can, I'll look that up once I finish the review here, and I'll, if I can find the video game on an abandonware site, I'll link to it. That'd be pretty crazy. I think it said there was like a movie version of it. It's so... Oh, okay. So the other thing was that Tsuge likes all these hot springs, and they're public, not public, but like private baths. You can go and stay at the inn. And was there something about he got... Seems like there was something in here about him getting commissioned to do different works for like a guidebook for different inns and hot springs. But that's what I really love about this, is how it gives you, these translations, which obviously I'm not a translation expert. Like I said, I'm only beginning to really kind of feel like I have any understanding of manga translation. I don't know Japanese, so I couldn't tell you if a translation is good or not. But I love seeing how things are made. I love seeing how things are influenced. So being able to see the images. Is there images for the inside of the inn? There's one. Oh, okay, yeah, so there's... These are one of these hot springs that he stayed at, and then that's an image too. These pictures are a little bit hard to make out even in the book, so it probably comes across horrible on the internet. But is there more? I thought there was more pictures of these. Yeah, here's a couple more from that's a big thing, is to go with a bunch of people into hot springs. That's a big thing in Japan, I guess. I don't know. And it has, I like this, the essay has got other extended bits. Like this has, I think this is from someone else. Manga magazines at Fukunaga. A record of Tokuho's extended stay hot springs. What? There's, oh, yeah, okay, that new issues of manga action were streamed about a hot spring in the remote mountains. Oh, it was something he had was at the hot springs. Like he went there to get away from, Tsuge had gone to the hot spring to get away from the city. He gets to this out of the way. He says that he went to the end of the road, to the end of the world, to encounter his own paper avatars. The drawing accompanying this episode comically shows Tsuge telling a woman, "That's me," to which she responds, "It looks nothing like you." That's supposed to be him telling her, "That's me in the magazine." She's like, "It doesn't look like you." A lot of the way it talks about different interviews with, here's different pictures of these hot springs and whatnot. So apparently that's a big thing, is that they like to go to these hot springs. Groups of people. I don't know about taking a bath with a bunch of people. I don't know how I feel about that. It doesn't immediately sound like something I want to do, but who knows? Maybe they could talk me into it. I doubt they would, though. Nude models. Oh, and then this is, yeah, so that's young Tsuge there in 1970. And Shigeru Mizuki. back. I'm gonna have to look through here again to figure out when it was. He was working with this Mizuki fella. He was like one of his assistants. Yeah, but so this one is definitely, like I said, I like this one more. There's more weird. There's more violent stories in this one. More stuff with creepy masks. I'm always down for creepy masks. Stuff of people behaving and like absurdly. This lady, like this, another one is of someone going to an inn, a tavern girl, the Macarena tavern girl. And this one, like this girl, like grabs the guy's hand and like puts it in her shirt to like, it's like, hey, here you go. He's like, what? Who taught you to do that? Just odd stories, you know, like the type of stories that seem real because they're just so strange, I guess, you know, like yeah, like this mixing in like this photorealism, more, you know, realistic. I assume he probably did some sort of maybe light boxing of that, or projected image or something that or maybe he had one of his assistants help do that or whatever. Yeah, this is the thing, is reading through this, every part of it I'm like enjoying, you know what I mean? Like it's and it's like I wonder, because I feel like I was driven to read this and find out if this review I had read of it that I felt was so negative, you know, like I wanted to prove the negative review wrong. Like they're just a negative Nancy kind of reviewer, you know, like someone who's just never happy and is gonna put all their own preconceptions on top of something. That's how I felt with it. Everything the reviewer wanted to see is what they were bringing out. I wonder if they had anything nasty to say about the crab one. Like he was wanting to rape a crab. Maybe that's what I should say, is that, yeah, she asked, am I reading a confession? I sit here with these comics and I cannot help but ask the question, and I have asked myself too many times while confronted with major masterpieces made by men with massive minds. Am I reading a confession? There are questions implicit in that grim curiosity that I try to resist. Namely, is it okay to read this? And will reading this hurt me? So, it might. It might. If I can answer the question posed by the Comics Journal reviewer, we're reading these comics, these manga comics by, you know, the manga version of Robert Crumb, as they're calling him. The lady with her titties out. This one is about, it's a prostitute. It's a man that's visiting a prostitute. So yeah, these stories will hurt you. If you have to ask, then you already know. These stories will hurt you. Look at these waves, black ink waves of black ink. This, I hop on a train at Shinjuku headed for the Boso Peninsula. Image of a train? That almost looks like an image of a prison. Trains are a sort of prison, aren't they? Moving prison. I'm a sucker for like wood texture. Anytime you got like black and white artwork and you put in some wood paneling, I'm a buyer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get some nice wood texture with your ink pen or your brush or whatever. I'm buying it. I'm picking it up. If you're putting it down, I'm picking it up. Yeah, so this one is about a man and it's interacting with a prostitute. So obviously, I can't remember this one that well. It seems like this was one of the ones I felt was kind of like a dud. Maybe not. I still can't remember reading this. I'm reading it as I'm looking through it, and I still can't even think of it. Huh. Which one is this? This is the Master of the Willow Inn. No, I think a lot of this one is supposed to be this guy thinking about all these things, wondering about things. Yeah, he sees this lady years later after he had slept with her, and she doesn't recognize him, or he doesn't think she recognizes him. And then he gets a cat and plays with the cat. Like, that's the end. Haha, they were right. I just remembered something from a novel. If you put a cat's paws in your eyelids, it's supposed to feel cool. They were right. So nice. So cool. What? It doesn't even make any sense. That's what I'm saying. Like, so many of these are like kind of just absurdities. A dream stroll. I mean, to me, that sounds like it's just going to be like a dream story, which I love dream stories, so I'm not saying that in a bad way. And this yeah, this one is like, this one is a weird kind of rape fantasy thing, but it's like it really is just like a bizarre fantasy, because it's like he's like pushing this bike. He sees this lady and like he's like, look how far her drawers have fallen. Her whole ass is like hanging out, and like he goes over and just starts. They just go at it. I wonder if I see her on a stroll again tomorrow. Like, it's that feels like something that would have been like in a porno magazine or something. You know what I mean? Like, this one isn't very long either. Like, what is it? It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 13 pages. And it's just about some guy moving his bike and then seeing some lady, and they go at it, and he wonders if he'll see her again tomorrow. What is this? Oh, this is another one. A Summer Memory. This is the one. Let me see if there seems like there's something goofy that they say about it in here too. I see. This is the thing. Like, okay, yeah. So let me go back to the review, because I think this is really more a review of the review. We're gonna finish this last story in here, though. This is this guy sees a lady that got hit by a hit and run car, and sees her laying in the field, and he goes over to help her, then molests her. I guess that's just what you do. Lady's laying over there in the field and but he looks concerned about molesting her. Like maybe he's upset that he molested her. Hi, honey. Was the public bath crowded? I wasn't able to go. I'm still in my period. What? Listen, there was a hit and run in front of NK Photo. Really? Let's check it out. I guess we should call the cops for. Hold on. About that. Let's start asking questions. Being a witness is a pain in the ass. I don't want to get involved. Then why did you tell her all this? What do you want to do then? Yeah, like, what are you doing? Hello. It happened in front of an NK Photo. You mean the road next to the rice paddies? Did you see it happen? Hello? Did you see it? Yes, I saw it. It was hairy. So this is what I'm saying. It's like all this is in this guy's mind. Your name and address, please. Hello? Just hangs up the phone. Fuck that. They don't need to know who I am, right? But that's just more suspicious. They'll think it was a crank call and trace it. Yep. Look at how many people there are. Someone must have told them. Oh my God, look. Look at her underwear. Did that happen when she got hit? I probably wouldn't care that much if that was me. If they were down just a little, I mean. But that's crazy. So is it like that he pulled her underwear down too? In here, he's just kind of reaching in from the side. Is it supposed to mean someone else came and then pull him down more? And it's just a whole story about this weird scene and like this guy. He's feeling guilty. He molested that lady, maybe. But then it's like, did he actually do that? So that's why I wonder with a lot of the stories is if something actually happened or if they imagined it happened. Oh, he just captured one of my worst fears. Forgot about this. Pedaling a bicycle in flip-flops. And the bottom pops out, hits the floor. That thing pops out and it bends the flip-flop. And you probably jam your toe, too. But yeah, so there's it's a long story, too. And then, like I said, like with all these, if you go back, it'll talk about, the creation of the story, different aspects of it. It's fantastic. I find this, like I said, like finding this just really, I'll leave it on the crab guy. Really, really is like the missing puzzle piece I had with manga. It's like, okay, I see where all this is coming from. Like if you read comics, but you never knew about Jack Kirby, and you never knew a Jack Kirby comic, or if you never knew, like I said, Peanuts, or Robert Crumb comic, or if I never saw a Sam Keith comic book, wouldn't be the person I am today. In this review, though, there's so much about this review that is so, I kind of feel like over the line. You have these reviewer asking if it's okay to read this. Will reading this hurt me? Yes. If you're worried if something will hurt you that you're reading, yes, it will. Don't read it then. Don't read it. Stay away. That's my answer. But we'll read what she says here. There's a moralizing impulse that victims are subjected to after the rapes have long since ended. It begins as a necessary wish to avoid seeing reminders of our trauma, of peering into the minds of rapists and seeing our own rapes fresh in their eyes. Sometimes we also know who they are and that they are active, and we want them far away from our communities, our shelters, our world. But it becomes a pervasive shame, doesn't it? Our concerns mingle with a cultural expectation that rape should not be talked about. Same attitude that blames victims for speaking because it makes people uncomfortable because it could threaten someone. I am sick of criticism that explains why it's okay to show this. What? I am sick of criticism that mentions sexual violence as a flaw in a work that could have been fixed. When it happened... What? When it happened to me, nobody was there to glorify or condemn it, so enough of that. Let's talk about Yoshiharu Tsuge again, and let's ask ourselves if it matters. I think that it might. Like, the way this reviewer just... There's so many words, and they're so angry. It's like, I just can't... Let's see. If Tsuge were, as many in the arts are and have been, a serial rapist constructing thinly veiled recollections of his own violence, these stories would suddenly become very boring. What? Why would you even suggest... If you just randomly suggest that someone's a serial rapist? That seems kind of... like crossing a certain line for some... You know what I'm saying? Like, you just shouldn't be calmly suggest that as just, you know, what if we thought about this if the person was a serial rapist? What? Okay, that elusive psychogeography that has pulled readers in for decades would be nothing but a tacky curtain hung over the bland imagination of an average sociopath. Rapists are incredibly dull people. In reality, harming others on purpose is a thoroughly banal activity, indulged in by vacant people so bereft of imagination that targeting victims is the closest thing to a personality they have ever dreamt up. This is not an authorial voice I find in Tsuge. What I find in these works is something that some readers might actually find just as disturbing, but is infinitely more interesting than a rapist. Yoshiharu Tsuge's stories are fantasies for someone who envies rapists. What the fuck? Like, that's what's like offensive about this, is that this is a review in the Comix Journal is not so much a review of this work so much as like the reviewer accusing the artist of like some pretty serious, disgusting things. You know, like I've always struggled with that separate the art from the artist or the artist from the art or whatever. But that's always been in cases where the artist is someone who's documented, you know, like, it's hard to appreciate Charlie Manson's songs, you know, when you consider that he led a maniac murder cult, you know, like, it's hard to appreciate his songs after that, you know, it's hard to appreciate those paintings after that guy killed all those people in World War II. You know, it's hard to look at his paintings and enjoy them when you think about, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I think of when, like, separate the art from the artist. You know, like, it's hard to like this movie because, you know, the main actor is a jerk. He did this or that or whatever. You know, the director is, you know, isn't that... There's different directors that, what's his face? The one that can't come, Polanski, you know. People love that guy's movies, and, you know, he's a sex criminal, you know. That's separate the art from the artist. It seems like this reviewer here is reading these stories in here and viewing them that... as real, but they're dream logics. You know, like they're surreal stories of absurdities and she's trying to like judge people on absurd dreams. Like, it's so so bizarre. But you know, the thing though that I say it might be a good review, because like reading it, I wouldn't say enraged me, but it was like, it made me curious. So I was like, these manga can't be these rape fantasies like this lady is suggesting. I need to go investigate for myself. And I did. You know, I read Volume 3, Nejishiki. I read Volume 1. Enjoyed both of them. Got Volume 2 laying around here too, but have not been able to get the time in reading it. Hopefully, we'll see if I can squeeze it in or not. But I wanted to get these two done because I've read these, still pretty fresh in my mind. I want to go over the different stories. Like I said, both really fascinating. I like the work in this third volume more. It's more surrealist, more you know, dream horrorscapes and whatnot. But to really get the complete picture, and probably the second volume, Red Flowers, will probably give you a more complete picture too. But this one shows, you know, where he started experimenting with you know, these more mature styles and more deeper, I don't know, dramas. I'm not sure what you call them, surrealisms. You know, so good stuff. Thanks to John Quarterly for putting these together, and like I said, the translator Ryan Holmberg. Thanks to the Comix Journal for writing a shitty review that inspired me to go look all this stuff up too. You know, that's what I mean. Is like, I don't think there's you can really say there's a bad review, even when it's done in bad faith. Because, you know, the rest of the review is the lady going through trying to explain why she thinks that these comics are basically, I don't know, they're rape fantasies. It's just angry about them. But, so, you know, her review is very colored by not liking all this stuff. You know, her negative reaction to it, her criticisms. But, like I said, like, sometimes you see someone else's criticisms, and those are the things that you enjoy. Or you feel that, with this, I felt that her criticisms were probably overblown, or looking at things in the wrong context. And I definitely feel that's what the case is. That the reviewer was just putting too much of themselves into the book. You know, like, they describe everything. Like in this, this one talking about one where there was the sexual violence with the lady at the inn. She's asked, who is the madam of the Gensinken Inn? She is an ugly woman. She is a helpless woman, a spiritual woman who prays before bathing, a leering, vain woman who paints herself and gazes at her own reflection. An aggressive, assertive matron, a rape victim, a wife who clings to her husband. What? Like, there's all this weird stuff. It's like so much of it is like this, what they're bringing their own interpretation of the person, interpretation of a character, interpretation of someone's reasons or rationales for whatever they are. I didn't think the lady was an ugly lady. She's saying that one. That lady is ugly. That comes across. I don't think she's an ugly woman or helpless woman. Like, it doesn't. I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's. I feel any kind of review is always worthwhile, you know, because it's whether it is a accurate review of the work, or whether it is a kind of exploration of the reviewer's own biases and ideas that they're trying to express by, you know, building up or tearing down a work. I guess that's what do my reviews tell you about my own biases? What do they tell myself about my biases? We'll never know. All right, well that's it for this one. I'll cover since we're doing this as kind of like almost like a two-parter. I'll like talk a little bit about the all-knowing, all-seeing pizza. This is going to be another aspect of relaunch, right? We all love relaunch, right? We all know that it's time to relaunch. Part of it will involve these characters from a universe or reality where pizza is illegal, and there's this dude who goes around and kills anyone who eats, makes, sells pizza. This is one of the images where he broke through into a dance studio, slaughtered everyone. Horrible story. Well, except for her. Nobody destroys her dance studio and lives. Anyways, we're gonna do a little bit of revamping of some of the stuff from Turbo Stab. Some of my projects I had a few years ago. Revamp some of that stuff into the world of relaunch. It's all coming together, and that's too also the background. There's a Nurse Kitty there, you know. So that's the review for today. Not sure what I'm gonna do next time. I got a couple I want to do, and kind of like to leave it up until the moment we do it, you know. So go check it out. Go subscribe to the Substack. Subscribe to the YouTube, and don't do nothing I wouldn't do, kids.
Simp, Dandy Don Simpson.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who Don Simpson is. I like Dandy though. Anyway, Simp.
Beautiful, naked, big titted women just don't fall out of the sky, you know.
Sky, you know. Sky, you know. And beautiful, big titty, but naked women just don't fall out the sky, you know. Tell me how, you know. I've been searching high and low, and I can tell you one thing. Beautiful, big titty, but naked women just don't fall out the sky, you know. Easy, how you doing?